on any other like administrative permission, like whether user can be able to manage these configurations or setup, or if you want user can be enabled for a API, that means he can able to use the APIs or data loaders. So all this basic organization setup has been done within the profile. So profiles here, interesting is that, and the rule in profile is that you are not supposed to use any of your standard profiles and to modify. You are not supposed to edit and modify anything for your standard profile. If you want to create a new profile, new, and you can only create a new profile by selecting an existing profile as a template. So you can't create
Deepak, I think you didn't share your screen.
okay, so sorry. Yes. Share. Yes. Cancel. So now I am in standard profiles. I'm in the profiles. If I want to create any profile, I wanted to create a profile, then I can create, and we need to select a profile which is existing. Let's see. The difference is that if I select my Salesforce read only, now the profile will give everything as a read only. Users will able to see the system only with a read only. And what is the license type here? Salesforce, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Let's say if you wanted to provide as a system administrator or like a custom system administrator. Even system administrator is the profile, license is Salesforce type, and you can provide your custom system administrator roles. Let me show one thing. I'll go with a read only Salesforce, and I'll go with BA50 column read only. So read only is my profile. So I created one profile with a name called read only. Now I'll go to the difference profiles, and I'll open my read only profile. Read only. Now you can see if I click edit, and I am also comparing the custom profile, the one we created. So we can able to modify app permissions, right? App settings you can modify in both standard and custom. Whether you want to display the particular app to this user or not, we can do that. And for connected app, yes, we can able to do. Connected app is there. And you can also override the tab setting, whether you want to display the tab or you wanted to hide the tab. Tabs also can be editable in standard profiles. Administrative permissions, you can see these permissions are not able to modify. Administrative, but when it comes to the custom, you can able to modify your administrative permissions, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The other difference is general user permissions. No, you can't modify. You can modify in custom, but you can't modify in standard. The other one is objects you can able to modify here, but here non-editable. So what are the permissions which you are not allowed to change in standard profiles? Administrative permissions, general user permissions, and standard object and custom object. Object permissions you are not allowed to provide. You know the factor why they didn't allow, they restricted us to modify standard permissions within the standard profile. Okay, let me say, if the Salesforce allows to modify anything in the standard profile, what if I went back? I'm the system administrator. What I did, I went to the system administrator profile, I edited, and I removed view setup and configurations option. You know what happens if I remove this? The user will not able to see a setup option. User will not able to see a setup. Then this entire system is overridden, right? You can't do anything more. You can't do anything more, anything else if you do that, right? Hello.
Yes, Deepak. Yeah. Yeah.
So to avoid such type of manual errors, what Salesforce is suggesting, please do not modify anything in the standard profile. Create your own profile and customize according to your business. So no user will be having a standard profile except system administrator, because we are the developers, so we'll be having system administrator with a full access. There is no restrictions. But when it comes to the other users, we'll be providing only custom profile, the one we created by cloning a standard profiles. Clear?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, this is in edit mode. What are the options we are getting? We are getting custom app settings, whether you wanted to show or you wanted to make a default. But you can able to make default only one app, because when you log in, you will be having only one app. So, and you can able to modify tab settings, administrative permissions, general user permissions, object settings, and then desktop integration, whether you are offline user. I mean, if you want data in the offline, then you can use the offline integrations. Session settings. If I am not doing anything with my Salesforce, within how many hours I need to deactivate? I mean, logged out. I'll say it is 24 hours or 2 hours. It is within 2 hours. If I don't perform any actions, it will take out. High accuracy. If I say high accuracy, every time it logs out, it asks you to re-log in. It asks you to re-log in. And we have a password policies too. What is password policy? Every 90 days, the password will expire. And when we are using our passwords in online, right, when you are changing, it says you, it is a old password cannot be used. Old password cannot be used. You will get this error, right, always. If you are changing your password continuously, or you are forgetting your passwords, when you are trying to change, what happens? We'll get an error saying that old password cannot be used. So what happened, whenever you log in, it remembers your last three passwords. So it will not allow the new password as same as the last three. And the password strength, it should be 8 characters long, and it should be a mix alphanumeric characters. You can also change alphanumeric and special characters. You can change the strength. I mean, you can change by Excel, and how many times you can do invalid logins. After 10 times, what happens? Your account will be freeze for 15 minutes. Else, you can also make it is forever. So only admin can able to get into the system, and they can able to, and they are allowed to open your record manually. What are the options you can change? You can edit in edit mode of profile. In the edit mode of profile, you can able to modify custom app settings, connected app, tabs, administrative permissions, general user permission, object settings, custom object permission, integration clients, session management, password policies. Now when in read-only format, now what we can do? We can able to manage our page layouts. We can able to manage our page layouts, right? Field level security. What else you can able to do extra? Page layout management, field level securities, and record type settings is the one you will be able to do when the profile is in read-only format. When the profile is in read-only, okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Now let me create a user. Let me create a user for this profile. So I'm going to users, new user, read-only, and what is the profile license that we need to select here? Why there is no Salesforce license? Already user is there. Edit. Okay, that day we are in a hurry to create a user to show, right? Fine. So now I'll create a users, new user, read only, read@read.com, and Salesforce license type profile is custom BA50 read only, CFO. Now this is my user which I created. Okay, BA50. Yeah. Now how we got this login button? Let's say login access policies. In login access policies, by default it will be unchecked. By default, it will be unchecked. When this is unchecked, you don't get a login option. You don't get a login option here. But how can I log in as a grant login? If we want to enable grant login access for any user, because I don't know the username password for this user, right? I know username, but I don't know the password, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now for that reasons, we can enable grant login access for a system administrators. So what we can do, we can go to the login access policies, login access policy under security controls. You can enable administrator can log in as any user. Save. It is saved now. Now go back to the users and you can see. Now you have a login button, right?
Yes.
Now we have a login button. So another thing we need to remember, after doing this, go to session management. Go to session settings, not management, session settings. Here it will ask saying that force relogin after as user. This will be checked by default. This will be in session settings under require secure connections. In that, under require secure connection, in that you have an option called force relogin after login as user. So what happens, the difference is that if this is enabled, let's suppose if this is enabled, I'll go to my users now. I'll go to my users login. I'll go to my users and I do a login. So I log in as a read-only user, Salesforce read-only user. Now what I'll do, I'll log out for this user. My expectation is that it need to come back to my user after logging out from a other user. I should come back to my user. But what it is expecting you to enter your password and username again. So to avoid this, we need to go back to security control. We need to update that force re-login after login as user. You need to uncheck that option.
Yeah. Got it.
Salesforce @123. Remind me later. And now you need to go to session settings, and you need to uncheck force re-login after login as user. So once you uncheck and saved it, even if I log in and log out, what I'll do a login. Now what I'll do a logout. Logout as a read-only user. Now you can see it is not logging out, right? It is going back to the user context. Yes or no?
Yes. Yeah.
Now I wanted read-only user to create a contact. I want to allow read-only user to create an account. Let's say I have a group of people. In my organization. In that read@read.ba50, I treated him as a super user among his group. Let's imagine that he had 50 people in his group. In that 50 people, I wanted to give an extra, responsibilities to a read user is saying that he is allowed to create his own accounts. He is allowed to create his accounts. You got it? He should have a new button. Now there is no new button, there is no edit, nothing, right? Yes or no?
Yes, we got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
We don't have anything.
So now let's suppose, imagine that we have a 50 people under same profile called BA read only. Under 50 people called, under profile called BA read only.
Yeah.
And in that, only one user, read@read.50, BA50 is the super user I'm treating, that he should have a extra permissions than others. He should have an
Okay.
extra permission than others. So what we are trying to do in one group of profile users, we are trying to extend the permissions. So this functionality can be gained through permission sets. Permission sets, what it's extends the permissions which is not available in profile. Let's say in my profile I have a read and I have a create access. In my profile I have two access called read and create. Okay. So if I want to remove my create access and a profile, I can't use permission set. Permission set will not remove permission which is available in profile. Confused or got it?
I got it, Vibhu.
Yeah. We have a permissions called read, create, edit, and delete. Now, if I want to remove a permission called create from a profile, I can't remove using permission set. What else I can do? I have to give a minimum permission at a profile level. We have to give a minimum permissions from a profile level, but remaining permissions need to be given from a permission sets. That only it will work. Otherwise, it will not work. Let's say what I will do. I'll go to the permission set. I'll go to permission set. I'll go to permission sets. And while creating a permission set, please do not select license. Please do not select license. Why I am saying, if you select license here, you can able to assign this permission set only for these license users, not for everyone. Okay? In user object, we have a license, right? Whenever you go to the user object, you have a license, right?
Yes.
If I go to read only, you have a license called Salesforce. So if I select my permission set with a charter fee, I can able to assign this permission set to only for a charter fee users. Then if I want to assign for him, again I need to create another permission set for the same permission. So we don't want to create a license type from a permission set. We can create a blank permission set so that we can assign to all users. Account, edit, create, access. So we are giving a name called account create access. Then save. In that, what we need to modify? We need to modify our object settings. We need to modify our object settings. Account object, edit. What you need to provide? Create access, right?
Yes.
Create. If you provide create, you will get read. I mean, we need to have a basic permission called read if you want to provide a create. Okay, save. Now I need to assign this permission set to the user. I need to assign this manage assignments, add assignment, and then select the permission to whom you need to add. Done. Now if I go back, if I log in as this user, if I go to see, you have a new permission. Yes or no?
Yes. Yeah.
Before you didn't had this. Now you are getting, right?
Yes.
Now I'll do log out. Now I have, whenever I'm creating like a let's say login, I'm showing work. Okay. Now I had this record type internal external, but whenever the read-only user creating, you should create only internal record types. You should not have an access to external record types. So what we can do, all this need to be modified under profile. All this need to be modified under profile. So where he is getting this access from a basic profile called profile 550. Here I showed you, right? We have a record type also you can modify. Record types, account record types, both enabled. Internal is enabled and external is enabled. So what we can do, we can remove external. We can remove external. Now you can see if I log it in, new, it will not ask any record type because he is accessed only for internal record type, so he don't get any other option to choose. Okay. Sharanya?
Yes, Deepak.
Yeah. Now, let's suppose the user, this read-only user should have edit access also. There are 10 users in the group who have a read access. I mean create access on account. Now I need to give an extra permission only for read only where he can able to edit the accounts. Where he can able to edit the accounts. So now the rule here is one user should have only one profile, but he can be assigned to more than one permission sets. He can be assigned to more than one permission set. So it means we need to create a new permission set. We need to create our new permission set. Create permission set. Permission set. New permission set. Account edit access. Set. Object settings. Accounts. Edit. I'm saying edit access. Say manage assignments, add assignment, login user, assign. Now you have an option to edit the records which are available. Let's say go. Now he is allowed to edit. If you need a delete, then again you can able to modify within the permission set, else you can able to remove the permissions. Clear? Profile provides the basic permission to an user, whereas if you need to extend a permission for a user, you need to use permission sets. You need to use your permission set. Clear?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
So Hemant, you asked me this question before: how you will be gonna control users, right? This
Yes,
is
Deepak, I got it. Yeah.
this is how the users will be controlled for while you to use a Salesforce system. So we'll be restricting them to access what to access. So when it comes to the administrative permissions, we're talking about administrative permissions. What administrative permissions will do? Let's go back and we'll understand what administrative permissions will do. Read only. Now you can go to administrative permissions. If you can see, record type administrative permission, whether he is accessible to communities, libraries, or REST services, whether he is enabled as a API or charter user. So all the basic configurations, all the questions that related to configurations will be controlled. Whether he is allowed to manage in the sense he can able to log in as user or he can allow to edit the users. So and whether he wanted to see a setup. Now we checked this checkbox called view setup and configurations. You can remove this. Otherwise, if you want to display the roles, if not, then help link, subscribe to reports, all this. So you can able to control each and everything from a standard and administrative and general user permissions. The basically we will be controlling entire setup and configurational things from a administrative permissions. Else, you'll go to the general permissions and basic things like when you are accessing activities you will create, right? Whenever there is any account or record, we have activities under it. We have a activities, right? Open activities and activities. Yes or no? If you want to control these things, you can able to uncheck it so that this user will not never gonna get any activity. So he will be like a, I mean, he just uses, but he is not responsible to do anything with the activities. No interaction with the end users like connecting through a phone or sending email, that interactions will be, restricted to these users. Clear?
Yes.
Yeah. How to
Yes,
create
Deepak.
it? You know how to create it. Now tell me the steps. Tell me the steps in a way that